Well, tobacco use is it's quite common, not only amongst Muslims but non-Muslims as well. It is one of the worst human ailments in the recent history because it does cause so much morbidity and mortality, and much more than many other diseases that people are completely frightened about. In fact, the United Nations statistics indicate that tobacco kills more people than most, if not all, of the diseases except for accidents. So it's the second cause of death worldwide, tobacco smoking. And it causes a great deal of morbidity and mortality within our community. And it is something that needs to be addressed, and it needs to be resisted, particularly by the scholars of religion, because in our religion there is a legal maxim that is derived from a hadith. It actually takes pretty much the exact wording of the hadith, and the scholars made that exact wording of the hadith a legal maxim, and it's one of the greatest 5 legal maxims, and that is la darara wa la dirar. There should be no harm, nor should there be any reciprocation of harm. And it is quite obvious that there is harm in smoking. I mean, you don't need any proofs more than the manufacturers of cigarettes and various forms of tobacco admitting that tobacco or smoking is quite harmful, or very harmful. The controversy between the Muslim scholars, particularly scholars of the 11th and 12th century after Hijrah, is not unexpected because in Islam the default ruling for all things is permissibility, and then you need to have strong evidence to say otherwise. So when you're confronted by a new matter such as tobacco smoking, then the scholars will hold on to the default ruling. They will say it's permissible until proven otherwise. And tobacco smoking was first introduced to the Muslim population in 1012 after Hijrah. So that's about 400 years after Hijrah, and the scholars of the time wrote extensively, and some of them considered it to be forbidden, some considered it to be makruh, which is the second legal value from the end of prohibition, because we have the 5 legal values. The makruh would be disliked, and it is less than forbidden, but it is certainly between permissible and forbidden, and some consider it even to be permissible because they didn't find any strong evidence to say otherwise. Now, at the time, that controversy was expected, and the scholars who said it's permissible, we do certainly agree with the reasoning. We don't agree with the conclusion, but we agree with the reasoning. They said, well, this particular plant is not intoxicant, so it is not, we will not give it the ruling of wine, and we don't know of any harms that it causes, short-term or long-term, therefore it is permissible, because we don't have any evidence to say otherwise. Now, over the past 400 years, things have become clearer that it is harmful. So nowadays, the controversy is almost over. Yes, it may not be completely over, because of possibly lack of recognition of the actual harm that it causes on the part of some of the scholars, or because of some other reasons. So with all due respect to all of the scholars, the controversy should actually end. But to be addicted to something that is this harmful, that is the second greatest cause of death, and it causes various types of cancer, including tongue cancer, cancer of the larynx, cancer of the trachea, cancer of the lung, various types of diseases such as ulcers, duodenal ulcers, gastric ulcers, various types of diseases of the genitourinary tract as well. All of this, combined with the fact that it causes bad odor, bad smell, and the Prophet forbade people from coming to the masjid if they eat uncooked garlic or onions because of the bad odor. And some of the scholars said that this is clearly a deterrence from eating such plants without cooking them, because coming to the masjid is essential for Muslims, and if you're going to be barred from coming to the masjid because of this, you should not be eating uncooked onions or garlic. You add to this also the waste of money and waste of resources. You add to this also the waste of time, because it is time consuming to some extent, and you add to it the prohibition by the vast majority of the scholars, and it should become clear to all Muslims that it is not such a good thing.
Okay. I'm going to ask you now about what can be done in terms of individuals quitting, and also the support that Muslims, family, community, imams, mosques might be able to offer people who realize that it's not such a good thing.
Well, I think there is a responsibility on each and every one of us, individuals or leaders of the Muslim community and other communities, physicians, imams, scholars, academic institutions, fatwa institutions, da'wah organizations. All of us have to be involved in warning people from this great harm. And I think it takes individual efforts, and it also takes collective efforts, organized collective efforts, raising the recognition of the people about the harms of tobacco is very important. It may even be more important to raise the recognition of the scholars about the harms of tobacco, because they certainly are in a position that would influence many followers. And if we raise the awareness of all of the scholars about the harms of tobacco, and we get to a point of recognition of the true harms. I think that passing fatwas, and so recently in Egypt, not very recently, but the former mufti did issue a fatwa about the prohibition of smoking. That had a very good impact on the people, because the people have more, certainly they have more respect for a fatwa than a secular law, because they think the secular law was passed by like another human being like them. And but that fatwa from the former mufti of Egypt did have a good impact on many people.
What was the mufti's name again? Because I remember.
Nasr Farid Wasit.
And then I guess my last question is about young people and shisha and the power hookah. Yes, argila. Yeah. You know, what can you say about that as a challenge to change behavior? Because I think we were already discussing it a little bit, but I think it's worth adding.
Well, I don't see any difference between cigarettes and hookah and shisha and argila or any. Just give it whatever name you want to give it. If it is the same thing, eventually, it's just different manifestations of the same thing. Tobacco is harmful. No matter how you get it into your system, whether you smoke it, you eat it, you sniff it, it is harmful.